right, this is part 2 of the 10.1 lesson. I'm going to pick up with guided practice number 6 and 7 at the bottom of page 512. So my suggestion to you is that you answer number 6 and 7 before listening to me go over it, if you're able to do that. So you might want to pause it and then come back. For number 6, you're being told that angles D and E are supplementary. And what does that mean? It means that they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, remember that was the definition up at the top of the page. They tell you that the measure of angle D is 84 degrees. So what would we add to it to get 180? Okay, you've seen very similar problems to this. This is more written in an elementary way, the way that you've seen it in our algebra class when we did that a few chapters ago would have been 84 plus E. I'm just picking that variable, is 180. So obviously, to solve for E, you would subtract 84 from both sides and find out that the measure of angle E, which, by the way, they're always written as capital letters for some reason, is 96. And that is how you do number 6. All right, number 7, very similar, but with complementary. So if you want to try that one, I suggest you do that, and then I'll work it out here. Number 7, angles R and S are complementary, so they will equal 90 degrees when added together. And angle S is only 9 degrees to get us up to our 90. So hopefully you can do this mental math. Subtracting 9 from 90 gives you 81 degrees as the measure of angle R. All right, I'm going to go over and do number 43. You were assigned number 43 for homework, so I suggest that you work it out before listening to me, but it is kind of tricky. So if you're looking at it and you don't know what to do, I'm totally fine with you just working it with me. So top of 515, it says the line of a kite is tied to the ground as shown. Name the 2 supplementary angles. And then in the drawing, you have a straight angle of 180 degrees. You have 3 points along that line, L, M, and N. And then you have this type of line coming off with a K. Before we get into it, just a quick review. Tell me, or in your head, what kind of angle is angle LMK? LMK. It's obtuse because it is larger than a 90-degree angle that would come through here. Okay? And it's called LMK because I have my 2 endpoints or points on the outside of the angle on the rays, and then this is our vertices, so it has to be the center of the name of the angle. All right, we were told in the directions of number 43 that angle LMK and angle NMK are supplementary, which means that when you add their measures together, you will get 180, okay? But unlike number 6 that we just did, you're not given one of the angle measures. You're given these variables that are written there. So I try to make a habit of saying, plug in what you know. What do you know is the measure of LMK? Well, it tells you that it's 7x, and that's a little foreign to what we're talking about, but this is how you're going to solve this one. Plus, what's the measure of NMK? It is 5x. And those 2 together will equal 180. Now, this is a problem. You've seen this type of thing before. So you might remember that we have similar or like terms on the left side, so you need to combine them. into 12x, and I'm going to jump up here on my screen because I've run out of room. 12x equals 180. And as a review, how do we get x alone in this? Well, we have a coefficient of 12, which is multiplied to the x, so we need to divide both sides by 12. And we will find out that 180 divided by 12 is 15. Okay? Now let me clear some space off so I can explain that. That x equals 15 is not the answer. Okay? You just have to get that to get to the answer. The question was, find the measure of LMK. Okay? The picture tells you that LMK is 7x, and we know that x is 15. So the measure of LMK is 7 times 15, which is 105 degrees. That's how you work number 43. All right. I think what we will do is I'm going to jump back. I'm going to work backwards for about 5 or 6 more minutes. And then if you have any questions that I wasn't able to cover, please shoot me an email and I'll figure out how to help you. So you were assigned number 41 as well. I think you can solve it. I'm going to jump up and do 40 instead. But if 41 is too much of a struggle for you, just let me know and I can go over it with you via email or FaceTime or whatever. Okay, number 40 says, a folding fan forms a straight angle when fully opened, right? You can picture a folding fan. I apologize for my dog. I have some people here working and he doesn't like that, so he keeps on barking. But we know that the base of the folding fan is a straight angle. What are the degrees of a straight angle? What is the measure of a straight angle? It's 180 degrees. All right, so keep that in mind. You're going to have to know that. It says if the fan is opened to 138 degree angle, so you can imagine that fan not being fully opened, but it's on its way to fully opened. It's gone past 90 degrees. So what kind of angle is 138 degrees? It's obtuse. But they're saying somewhere in this area, it's 138 degrees, okay? That's the angle that it's formed. And it says how many more degrees does it need to be opened to be fully opened? In other words, how much farther are you going to have to extend it to get back to 180 degrees to make it fully opened, making a straight angle? Hopefully you realize that these two angles are supplementary because they form 180 degrees when combined. And so we can solve this one similarly to the way we solved number 43. We know that 138 plus something we're not sure of has to equal 180. So we just subtract 138 from 180 and get 42. And that is how many more degrees the fan would have to be opened. All right, let's look at a different one that's similar to a homework problem. I believe you had to do the odds to 33. So let me see. Let's look at numbers 28 and 30. And that way, if you can do them with me, you should be able to do 29 and 31. So we have this straight angle coming across the center. We have a line bisecting it here and another one coming off of here. This is drawn on your page 514 up towards the top on the right. I'm just going to go ahead and label all of the pieces. Okay, this is the drawing that you have on 514. And 28 and 30 asks you to find the measure of angle CFD and angle AFE, okay? I'm going to point out a couple of things to you first. F is the vertices of all the angles in our drawing. And this line, I've told you before, is always shown in red in your book, and it is the sign for a 90-degree angle, okay? I'm going to just make a little note over here. Okay. And this 60 degrees is telling you what BFC is, okay? BFD is 90 and BFC is 60. That's what those two things mean. So how can we find the measure of CFD? Well, we know that BFC and CFD will form a 90-degree angle. There's a term for angles when added together make 90 degrees. What is that term? It's complementary. You have to know that, okay? So I'm just going to plug in what I know. I know that the measure of angle BFC is 60. I do not know the measure of CFD. That's what I'm trying to solve. But I know that when I put them together, I'm going to get 90. So you should see that that makes CFD have to be 30 degrees. And then the next one says to find the measure of AFE. Okay, now this could be a little bit complicated. I'm going to try to explain it. It's very important that you begin to visualize things this way, because the next lesson, unfortunately, is a little bit harder when you're looking at all these angles because there's so many lines, okay? So we are trying to figure out AFE. That's right here, okay? And you might be kind of freaking out thinking, I don't have enough information. I can't figure that out. But you do. They wouldn't ask you to solve something that you don't have enough information to solve, okay? So let me just remind you. This line, or angle AFC, is a straight line, okay? 180 degrees, a straight angle. Okay, so AFC is a straight angle, and that doesn't directly get me around to finding the measure of this angle, but it helps me to get to the measure of AFB, okay? This angle. So here we have 180 degrees. Here I have 60 of those degrees. So this has to be 120 degrees, because these two are supplementary, AFB and BFC, okay? Now, back to what I was saying a second ago about the straight lines. Angle EFB is also a straight angle, straight line of 180 degrees. And so two angles make up those 180 degrees. Angle AFB, which we have already figured out is 120 degrees, and then angle AFE, which we're trying to solve in this problem. So again, angle AFB 120 plus something for this measure has to equal 180, and you should see that that is 60 degrees. All right, I know that's kind of confusing. If you need me to walk through 29 and 31, I'm totally fine with FaceTiming. I'd love to see you anyway, so just let me know.